Greed enables a person to buy things money can buy while losing the things money cannot buy. Hello and welcome back to our first session this week. It's round 2 on greed. Vindrikorji will throw light on some interesting takeaways. So over to you, Puaji.
Yes. Good evening to all. Good morning to the overseas. Sat Sri Akal, Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh, Ram Ram Ji. So we are back now onto the other half of greed, which is very, very important. And today we are going to touch the spirituality part of it. Now, what does spirituality actually say? What does it say? Let us see the plus and the minus point of greed. Spirituality says that we should not be greedy. We should not be greedy, because when desires are crossed over, they cross the mark. We have the right to have a desire for everything. Let it be a desire for materialistic things, a desire for knowledge, that's okay. But when it crosses the thing and we go into greed, that is not correct in spirituality. So on the screen, you can see on spirituality, the first video that is going to be shown. We should not be greedy.
Who's ready to hatch some cool pets? Click here to make your very...
Tia, where are you?
I am here, Tofu. What happened?
Tia, you keep on teaching me new morals through different stories. Today I'll tell you a story that our teacher taught us in class.
Oh, really? I am so eager to listen to it. The Dog and the Bone. Once upon a time, in the dark alleys of a small village, there lived a dog. He was a stray dog who had to live on anything that he found on the streets, in the bins, or at the mercy of the people who would feed him every now and then. One day, while passing by a butcher's shop, he saw that there was no one to attend the shop. He entered the shop and his eyes popped out when he saw juicy chicken, lamb, pork, and turkey hanging. It was far from his reach, so he went around the cabinets to look for something.
I hope I could find something to eat here.
He went around sniffing and looking for it, and suddenly he saw a juicy big bone. He started drooling and said,
My day is made. This would surely fill up my tummy.
He bounced at it and grabbed it in his mouth. I'll eat this juicy bone in a quiet place where no one else would be able to take it away from me. So the lean dog very happily took the bone and looked for a secluded place. He crossed the village and entered the woods. While he was trying to cross a river, he stopped and looked at his reflection in the river. He was quite surprised at what he saw. He saw his own reflection and thought,
Oh my God, there is another dog with an equally juicy bone. It looks yum too.
I got to have that bone as well. And the moment the greedy dog decided to bark at the other dog, the bone fell in the river.
Oh, what have I done? It was my reflection in the water, and the greed made me lose my bone too.
He went away in sorrow, with surely a lesson to be learned. Wow, Tofu! That surely was a beautiful story. So what do you think is the moral of the story?
Being greedy is not good, because a bird in hand is worth 3 in the bush.
For your favorite rhymes, stories, and more, join Kids Hat family. Subscribe here.
So what message do we get from this video? Aren't we like this greedy dog? We always want to have what others have. And in the bargain, we lose what we have. So it is, spirituality says that you have to train your mind. You have to keep your mind under control because our mind is always running for more and more and more. And what happens that this mind is always dwelling on the materialistic possessions. It wants more. But spirituality says when our mind is greed, desire is fine, but when it goes to greed, then those materialistic possessions become a curse for us. Example, if I want money, I have a greed for money, and then I want more and more and more, then this money only becomes a curse because with the ample of money, our children go haywire. We also lose control and we also start loitering about and flaunting the money. So it says that you have to control and you must not cross the desire. You must be very, very careful because it says in the screen that peace goes to pieces. Man ashant ho jandi, and you go into pieces. Now, what happens when we do not control this mind and have not to cross the benchmark, then the mind becomes like a bouncing ball. It is running up and down, seeing all nearby, whatever is happening, and we spoil our own identity. Because our identity is Mantu Jot Swarup hai. You are the soul conscious. And what is the soul conscious? Sabar hai, santokh hai, is contented. So we ruin our identity because we are onto the soul conscious. So spirituality says that we should be very wonder. And how do we do it? Because if we are going towards spirituality, then what are the things that we can control or avoid or eliminate greed? So now you will come on to the second part. On the screen, you will see the mind map. It says in the second mind map that how to avoid, according to how to avoid. So it says, first do charity. The second, the screen, we show it on the screen. It shows that you should start doing charity. You know that there's a desire. You have got a desire. Now you want to avoid going into the greed, or you have started going into greed and you want to eliminate it. So what do? You do charity. When you do charity, from what? From whatever you have, you start doing charity. And it says, these are the four things: doing charity, being generous, being contented, and keep the comparison. Now, what happens when we start doing charity? When we're doing charity, after all, we are going to give to the needy people from what I have, that is called charity. This avoids and eliminates greed because it stops us from cheating, from doing fraud or stealing. So when we are doing charity, we will not want more because we are now imparting with whatever we are. This is a process of how to eliminate greed and avoid greed. So when we are giving from what we have, we stop using wrong means of collecting the thing, or we do not want more. Or what happens, we are usually hating and we have a compatibility with people because we want more. But when we're doing charity, we come to know about the people who are in need. Then slowly you'll see that the hate starts going down and down, is diminished, and we start having love for them. That is why it says that do charity. When you're doing charity, you are inculcating to be generous. Generous in which way? Because you're imparting what you have. Let it be money, let it be food, let it be knowledge. Whatever you are generously giving, contributing to the people, this is like a process. So from charity, you're coming slowly, you come to being generous. And when you become generous, then you become contented with what you have. Because greedy people are never rich. They say they are always poor. That is what Gandhi said, that you can never satisfy a greedy person because he's always poor, because he never learned to impart. So we're learning to impart with what we have, and we do charity, we become generous. And when we become generous, we become contented because now we are seeing what I am having. oh, I have got about 10,000 with me, and I'm going to give from that 200 rupees to another, 500 to someone. So I am seeing I have got thing. So what happens? We are inculcating contentment into us, and then slowly we start kicking the comparison, because it is the comparison only that puts us into the soup. ਅਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਨਜ਼ਦੀਕ ਰਿਸ਼ਤੇਦਾਰਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਦੇਖ ਕੇ we compare, oh, he has this, so I must have this. The other person has so much of money, so I must also reach to that much. This person has so much knowledge, so I must have the knowledge. So what in that comparison, we're in that rat race, and then slowly this comparison only leads us into greed. So this is what we have to abide, or we have to go through this process of charity. Then we come to become generous, then we become contented, and then we kick the comparison. Now when we come to the next slide, it says that how to overcome the greed. Hona si greedy the ho gaye. Now we have to learn how to become greedy, because we know that we can destroy ourselves. We can destroy our physical body also, because in the greed, when we have too much of food, there also we spoil our own health. When we have money also, there also we go into depression and excitement and lot of stress and pain. So now to how to come, the first tool that we use is knowledge. You have to use knowledge, where you're going to acknowledge what you have. We have never learned how to acknowledge what we have, because greedy people never. First and foremost, we must have the knowledge to acknowledge what you have. So the knowledge tells you that you have so much, and this is enough for you. So learn to acknowledge. That is why whenever we have any type of vices, we say, please label them. How will we label them? First, we have to acknowledge it. We have to know. So acknowledge what you have. When you acknowledge, yes, I have so much of money, I have so much of facilities and all. When we acknowledge and label it, then we will learn to have gratitude. We have to have gratitude for what we have. Because a greedy person never has gratitude, because he has never acknowledged that I have so much. Because he wants more and more and more, and he remains always poor. So a person who wants to overcome this greed, because he has come to know what are the consequences and what are the repercussions of greed. So what he does, he first takes the knowledge and acknowledges what he has. When he acknowledges what he has, then he will say, oh, I have enough. Before तो इसको पता ही नहीं था कि मेरे पास है क्या. खाली one keeps on hoarding and hoarding and hoarding. That is why when we open a cupboard and we say, oh my God, there's so much of clothes. Suddenly we are acknowledging it. Let it be money, let it be clothes, let it be food, let it be anything. We have to acknowledge. When we acknowledge it, we count, then we say, oh, I have enough. Then we go into gratitude. Then we thank for whatever we have. Because usually we thank कि रब ने सुनाया देता to thank him, or someone gives us something, we thank them. But we have never thanked what we already have. So we have to go into gratitude only after we acknowledge it. So when we acknowledge and go into gratitude, then we start sharing unconditionally. Because now we know that actually we are rich. Because greedy people always feel that they are poor. But now we know we are rich because we have acknowledged it and we got into gratitude, and that gratitude energy brings that unconditionally sharing. Now, when we share something with someone, usually it is not unconditional. When we share something, we are always waiting for an expectation that we have given something, so now we'll get something back. So when we don't get back, we are hurt. And then that sharing, which is not unconditional, is of no use. It's no use. एक खाली एक सौदा ही हैगा that we have. जैसे गुरुद्वारे गया तो मैं ऐ देता तो तुसी मनु ऐ दो. मैं जितना प्रसाद चढ़ाया, मैं इतने पाठ कीते तो तुसी मनु बच्चे दा ब्याह करा दो, या पैसा, या business. It is all a business. But we have to share unconditionally. When unconditionally we are sharing all that we have, then what happens? This is actually called Nam-Surrender. Sharing unconditionally. Because when we share unconditionally, there is no expectations. When there is no expectations, that means there is no hurt. When there is no hurt, this is called now. Now, next we say that if you have to overcome the greed, don't wish for what is not yours. लोगों को बहुत कुछ है जो थोड़े को है वो दूसरे को नहीं है, दूसरे को लो थोड़े को नहीं है. But we always keep on looking at other people it is a very negative. Yes, at times some people have knowledge. So we want that also we should have what knowledge they are having. But that is a positive side. But when on the materialistic things we go, then at times we cross to greed because our desire, we do not know when it crosses and becomes greed for us. So spirituality helps us how with these tools of how to overcome greed, because until we are not greedy, because कहते मन हमेशा ही भुखा है, spirituality से मन भुखा है हमेशा, पर अगर भुख रखनी है ते भुख रखो, उस दे नाम दे भुख रखो, ओ भुख जेरी होएगी is going to be in spirituality a very positive energy, because नाम दे भुख रखनी means abiding by all the virtues of the oneness. When we have this greed for the virtues of the oneness, healthy is our mind, our body, and healthy is our relationship, and takes us out of the real lives and puts us into a real life. Because we are slowly touching from real life to the real life, that is from body conscious to soul conscious. So this is what spirituality says. Hanji Harvinder, you can carry on.
Beautiful session indeed, Puaji. Lots of takeaways here. We have lots of questions coming up. So I think one question I've got here. Puaji, we'll all agree that greed up to a point is healthy, right? Because it helps you motivate, it pushes you. It's that, adrenaline rush. But that point where we just slip away and we actually become greedy, that point of dividing line of pata hi nahi chalta ki kad wo motivation khatam ho gaya and I have become greedy. So how to control, how do we stop there?
See, so then what happens? A desire will bring positive results. Okay, that we have a desire. But when we go into greed, no, slowly you can see, because greed is a negative force. And as soon as a greed comes, it is going to change the sensation of the whole body. Every negative, every vice will change first the sensation of the body, and then it goes and hits again the physical body. So when you see some gut feeling, something is going wrong, imagine, you can understand somewhere my desire has entered into greed. So you have to be very alert, very aware, and you need knowledge. The tool of that knowledge has to be there, and you have to be very flawless. You have to acknowledge it also. You have to acknowledge. At times we just put it under the carpet. No, it's not greed, it's still a desire. No, it's harming me, it's going to harm me. So that's why we need knowledge. That's why we are all sharing knowledge on this platform. So as we can differentiate between greed and desire and greed, desire and lust. So there's a thin line how we slip in. Hanji.
Well said. If there's any other question, query, then raise your hand, unmute yourself and question. Yes.
Bhuaji, I just want to ask कि अपना like जिਵੇਂ greed बारे से कहने आ है ना, कहना बड़ा आसान है, but ਜਦੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਤੇ ਬੀਤਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਅਸੀਂ ਲੈਕਚਰਸ ਬਹੁਤ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਅਸੀਂ ਗਿਆਨ ਬਹੁਤ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਨਾ ਦੂਜਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਿ greedy ਨਹੀਂ ਹੋਣਾ, ਹੈ ਨਾ, ਸਮਝਾਉਂਦੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਆ, ਪਰ ਜਦੋਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਤੇ ਉਹ ਪੈਂਦੀ ਹੈ ਨਾ, ਤੇ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ we have a knowledge, but frictions of seconds which ਅਸੀਂ ਵੀ ਹਿਲ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆ, ਹੈ ਨਾ, we also get trapped in that.
Yes.
So how can we practice कि ਅਸੀਂ ਇਸੇ ਤੋਂ ਬਚ ਕੇ ਰਹੀਏ? Yes, we have knowledge, later on we realize कि ਅਸੀਂ ਵੀ ਇਹ trap ਹੋ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ, or yes कि it is a negative approach, so it is going to give me hurt, but then तो इतना practice करके इतनी करके भी we get trapped.
So what happened now? Change the energy. We have done in the other sessions also, always change the energy. When I'm very angry, now we have the knowledge that the anger, before it becomes aggression, we go and hug someone. We hug someone. So what happens? We change the energy. So now when we are greedy, when we are having a desire, we are buying things, and suddenly we are buying things, change the thing and go and share something with someone. Change the energy. You become generous. You have to be aware that you have to change the energy. So let it be anything, any vice which you are traveling and you see is cross the benchmark, immediately change the energy. मैं आज गई हूं तो मैंने अपने सूट लेके आई हूं. I सूट लेके मनु पता ही लगा, came back home and I think I bought, must be one extra I bought an extra, I came back home. Opening your cupboard and you see that something is there and all, take it and give it to someone. Share it. Keep this in mind, that the energy should be changed. नहीं तो what are we will be trapped, and in that we'll be ਅਸੀਂ ਬਹਿ ਜਾਵਾਂਗੇ ਉਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਬਹਿੰਦੇ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਪਤਾ ਲੱਗੇਗਾ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਇਤਨੇ greedy ਹੋ ਜਾਵਾਂਗੇ ਕਿ at the end we become poor only. We are always kept poor. Then abundance does not flow. Change the energy. Let it be any vice. Any of the vices, change the energy.
ਜਿਵੇਂ ਕੱਲ ਕਿਰਨ ਮੈਮ ਜਦੋਂ ਸ਼ੇਅਰ ਕਰੇ ਸੀ ਸਾਡੀ ਕਲਾਸਿਸ ਤੇ ਕਿ ਸੇਲ ਲੱਗੀ ਸੀ ਤੇ ਰਿੰਪਲ ਮੈਮ ਮਤਲਬ ਕਹਿੰਦੀ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਸੇਲ ਲੱਗੀ ਸੀ ਬਟ ਆਈ ਵਾਸ ਸੋ ਕੰਟੈਂਟਡ ਕਿ ਨਹੀਂ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਨਹੀਂ ਲੈਣਾ ਲਾਲਚ ਵਿੱਚ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਣਾ. Is it that you mean to say?
That is also one way. That is because knowledge is there. So immediately when she's going to buy it and she says, no, I will not. So she has controlled it. But at times we go and we buy it. We buy it and come back home. And then we realize, oh, I should not have bought it. I crossed that mark. Make already has, why did I do? Maybe I got trapped because marketing is there. When you go on these sales and all, they're never at a loss. They're never at a loss, but that is the way they do it. But we got trapped. No, I bought it. Now, before this becomes strong, share with someone. So there are two ways. Yeah, before buying it, you stop yourself. Or when you have bought it and you come back home and you realize, galt kita, share something, change the energy.
A person who is fond of shopping, right?
Yeah.
Shopping, love to shop, and
Yes.
feel so relaxed, like I'll talk myself. I love shopping. So whenever I'm tired, right, overexhausted, and if I want to go somewhere for shopping, I feel so relaxed. I love to do shopping. So is it not greediness?
Yes. Because when we go for shopping, people and all are addicted to it also. They go and they buy, they love to buy. That is one. And what happens, we get very easily trapped also because the markets, their way of doing their marketing is so well done that we also get trapped into it. But then what happens now, we have to realize and introspect and find out, ki, main itna litta hai kya? Did I really need it? Did I really need it? Or is it my this thirst of how to do shopping? I'm addicted to shopping. This is an introspection which everyone has to do. Everyone has to do. Because we cross our limit. Wait, what happened? Then we have the money. We say we have the money. I don't. मैं किसी का नुकसान थे मैं अपना ही पैसा लगाया है कभी. But slowly we are getting trapped. Slowly, and all days are not going to be the same. Remember one thing, all days are not going to be the same. So what happens, we have to see that we're not supposed to get trapped into it. अगर मैंने एक चीज लोड है तो मैं एक चीज लोड है, but ਅਸੀਂ ਜਦੋਂ ਬਾਜ਼ਾਰ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਹਾਂ तो we get another one. What happens, I'll give you a very simple example. ਅਸੀਂ ਜਦੋਂ ਇੱਕ ਨੌਕਰ ਨੂੰ ਭੇਜਾਂ ਬਾਜ਼ਾਰ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਲੈਣ ਵਾਸਤੇ, तो we tell him, okay तुम जा रहे हो, ऐसे करो एक egg tray लेके आओ. Okay, now egg tray will be how much? 150 rupees. तो कहते नहीं ऐसे करो आप मेरे को 500 कर लेते. We don't give them more because we know कि 150 दी ट्रे हैगी है तो मैं को 500 दे देता. This fellow is going to buy more and more and more. Even what he doesn't need, he wants to hoard it. So even a simple servant also, he also becomes greedy. Hari paisa usta nahi hai. But because being a cook in the kitchen, he starts hoarding it up.
So I would like
because
to
this is a very common thing which we people are doing in the house.
Yes, yes. Like how we don't go to DMart because like nahi bhi chahiye to we get so many things,
Yes.
Okay. So we get so excess of things. So I think that is to avoid that. Whatever you need, just get it that.
Yes, get that. And then there are so easy ways of getting things. You go to the online, you get everything. But because when you go to the market, you start hoarding things. This is not only with the servants, it is with us people also. ये भी ले लो वो भी ले लो ना उन पैसा 500 आया तो चलो 10,000 रुपया आया तो let's buy the things. Even if we don't need it, let us keep it for another month. This is how we get trapped. This is how we get trapped into the greed.
So we need to do self-introspection time and again.
Yes, yes.
But you're just taking up this question again, one more aspect of this. Yes, no doubt it's greed you mentioned, but it works as a therapy. Like de-stress, you want to just take out, sometimes you're even angry at something or whatever. You go out, you shop, you buy something, you come back with such a feel-good factor, So I think balance. But go there and like, challe na ho jao. You can buy at least one thing and come. So it works both ways. You have not overspent, you have not been greedy, and you have vented out, you have puked it out, like in a healthy way. So maintaining balance between the greed and your therapy I think if we have learned to do that, then it's wonderful.
You know what happens usually when we people are angry or something? So this is anger management. So what to
Yes.
anger? We go in for shopping.
Yes.
Be very careful कि anger ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਨਿਕਲ ਕੇ ਤੇ ਕਿਸੇ ਅਸੀਂ greed ਵਿੱਚ ਨਹੀਂ ਫਸ ਜਾਵਾਂਗੇ.
Yes.
So again, knowledge is the biggest tool.
With awareness, we have to do it.
Yes, with awareness, with awareness.
Yes, yes, absolutely. So all the pending questions we'll definitely take up on our open forum day, which is on Saturday, the 11th day. And today is day 6. As you all know, we have a very interesting quiz lined up on greed, right? So this is no way to judge you. It's just for your self-evaluation. If we have been listening to our day 5 and day 6, I'm sure we'll all score 10 on 10. And as in greed, when we go to the malls, dil mange more. We are never satisfied. So let's see how well we go down on this quiz. So coming to our first question on greed. What is greed? A very simple question, which Puaji explained yesterday. A strong desire for material possessions or wealth, a virtue associated with selflessness and generosity, or is it a type of food? Wow. So out of the 3 MCQs, what would we go for? What is greed? Can we have the answer? Yes, of course. It's a strong desire for material possessions or wealth. So score yourself 1 mark. True or false? Greed is always associated, considered as a negative trait. Sach hai ki jhoot hai? True or false? Always a negative trait? Yes. What should we say? Is it? We just spoke about it right now. So yes, it's not considered always a negative trait. We just spoke about it, that it can be as a therapy also. It can be motivating. So yes, it's not always a negative trait. Yes, so moving on to the next question on our list. Greed is often associated with an insatiable desire for money, fame, power, or all of the above. Power, fame, money, or all. What would you go for? Yes, we would go for all of the above. Perfect. Yes, now we go on to the next question. True or false? Greed can lead to unethical behavior. Does greed lead to unethical behavior? Sach hai ki jhoot hai? True or false? What would our answer be? Yes, true. Greed does lead to unethical behavior. Yes. Which of the following is a synonym? Synonym meaning same meaning for greed. Contentment, altruism, avarice, or compassion. What is the meaning or what is a synonym for greed? What would you say? A, B, C, D. Which is the right answer? Yes, C. Avarice means greed. Okay, moving on to the next question. Characterized by, greed is characterized by what? Hoarding and accumulating more than necessary, sharing and giving to others selflessly, or being indifferent to material possessions. What would a greedy person do? Puaji just spoke about it. If our eyes and ears were open, I'm sure we'll get it right. Hoarding and accumulating, sharing and giving, being indifferent. So the right answer is, yes, hoarding and accumulating. Even in the kitchen, the servants do that. Yes. Next is, greed can have negative consequences on which of the following? Personal relationships, society and economy, emotional well-being, or all of the above. Negative consequences on which aspect? What would you say? I'm sure all of us know the answer. Yes, all of the above. Negative consequences on everything. Yes. Perfect. Moving on to the next. This is very simple. Opposite of greed: generosity, envy, or frugality. What is the opposite of greed? Very, very simple. I'm sure we all know this. Generosity. Yes, everybody got it right. Next one, true or false? Greed is a universal human trait found in every individual. I just spoke about it, about the gene greed also. So what would you say? Is it true? Is it false? So it is, yes, true. It is found in every individual. It is universal. Okay, and how can we overcome greed? Today we have done important takeaways. Practicing gratitude and contentment, cultivating a mindset of abundance and sharing, engaging in acts of selflessness and generosity. Or do you think all of the above? What are the tools to overcome greed? And the answer is, let's freeze D, all of the above. These are all important takeaways, tools which we just did today on our day 6. So great. That was a lovely, fantastic quiz on greed. And because it is day 6, we will also share a questionnaire on greed on the WhatsApp group to which all of you are added. So that questionnaire is again for self-evaluation. And any question that needs more clarity, please star it, and we will take up that question in our open forum day, which is on Saturday. So thank you all for joining in. It was really wonderful having you all over. And tomorrow, Uaji will decode another vice. So let's see which that will be. Thank you all. Good night.